nothing infuriates the king more than people trying to second-guess him. Ahead of then US President Donald Trump's first official visit to Britain back in July 2018, reports said when the two met Charles would rant at the other man, and metaphorically thrust a copy of his climate change book into his hand, thump the table and demand he act on it. Charles, then Prince of Wales, was genuinely baffled. He asked a close aide, but why would they think that? The negative reports ruffled White House feathers, too, and irritated Washington insiders let it be known that President Trump viewed the prince as part of the urban elite. Biden set to meet King Charles before heading to NATO summit. Latest, as it happened, the two men didn't meet on that visit. But when they finally did sit down for a chat over afternoon tea a year later in June 2019 during his three-day state visit to Britain, the two men were on first-name terms. "Hello, Donald," he said, stretching out his hand to the president as he stepped out of Marine One onto the palace lawn. During their meeting at Clarence House, climate change was top of Charles's list of topics to discuss with the world's most powerful leader. Their scheduled 15-minute chat turned out to be an hour and a half and, according to Trump, he did most of the talking. President Trump, a climate change denier, said afterward, he, Charles, is a very good person who wants to have a world that's good for future generations. That's what impressed me the most, his love for this world. Now it is President Joe Biden's turn. The US president, who sparked ill-informed reports of a snub when he didn't attend the king's coronation and sent the First Lady, his wife Jill, instead, and spoke of Ireland as being part of his soul during a passionate speech during his visit there in April. He touched down in Air Force One at Stansted Airport on Sunday evening. The president has, of course, visited Britain before. He attended the late Queen Elizabeth II's funeral last September and made a brief trip to Northern Ireland earlier this year to mark the 25th anniversary of the Good Friday Agreement during the Whistle-Stop Charm Offensive. He will again seek to grow his close relationship with the US's strongest ally. He will meet the King as well as Prime Minister Rishi Sunak ahead of a critical NATO summit that could determine the course of the conflict in Ukraine. London is the first stop on Biden's three-nation tour, which begins today. He will then go to Vilnius, Lithuania's capital, for a summit of NATO leaders, and finally to Helsinki, the capital city of NATO's newest member, Finland. Biden and Sunak will discuss the big issues of the day such as the war in Ukraine. But King Charles, despite being above politics, won't waste his time with the world's most powerful man and will undoubtedly raise the subject of environmental challenges facing the world. Hugely encouraged by his plans to make the global climate crisis a top priority, Charles sent a personal letter to Biden when he took office. He sees Biden as a powerful ally in his crusade to convince governments and big business to tackle the climate emergency. His visit is not the bells and whistles state like Trump's was, more of a stopover on the way to Lithuania. Don't miss. BBC presenter suspended over allegations they paid teenager for explicit photos. Latest, some see it as a sop to the irked British government after Biden's visit to Ireland in April, which he has described as going home and the country being part of his soul. Coupled with UK Defence Secretary Ben Wallace's unsuccessful bid to lead NATO, some in government and political commentators have been left unimpressed by Biden. Charles' wife Queen Camilla will of course meet the president again this week. Perhaps this time she will think twice before standing downwind from the 80-year-old leader of the free world. When the two last met at a reception at COP26 in Glasgow in 2021, he apparently broke wind in front of her, which left her in stitches. It was reportedly so long and loud it was impossible to ignore. Of course, loud and impossible to ignore was also how people used to describe Biden's predecessor, the aptly named Trump, whose surname in British English means, well, you've guessed it, fart. Robert Jobson is a royal expert who regularly appears on live television news bulletins and in historical documentaries. He is the author of several acclaimed books, including his recent biography, Our King, Charles III, The Man and the Monarch Revealed, which was a Sunday Times bestseller.
From